this entire month, those 3 sessions Mary Rose just mentioned, they focus on these 3 human abilities or expressions: speaking, or the power of the word. This is also what we kind of deepened last week: teaching, and doing or action. So last week we talked about the power of the words, the speaking. And with words or speaking, what we were referring to is more this creative power, the manifestation of the idea that is coming, and which is an expression of what is within us, of our state of being. So when we are speaking, we are conveying this inner essence to others around us, which in a way is teaching. And following teaching then is action. It's just turning it into the reality of life here. So here you can see an overview, and in the left window there it says, like on top, spirit as spaces. And what we talked about or explained last week, and we want to continue on with today, it's if our inner essence is based on the spirit, this spark of the divine spirit everyone carries in their heart, then the words, the ideas that are spoken will be truth. And not in the personal sense of truth, but think more about the absolute truth. And absolute truth brings goodness. And again, think in a sense of the absolute goodness, as it's also mentioned in the scriptures. And subsequently, what is following then is the action or the doing based on the spirit will also show the corresponding results. So everything based on the spirit within, and therefore an expression and the manifestation of the spirit. If you look on the right side little window where it says ego as spaces, this is if our inner essence or our state of being, of consciousness, is not based on the spirit spark in our heart, but it's based on an I-centered state of being or consciousness. And don't think about it in a negative way of of egoism and not so. More think of seeing the world with the I at the center. This is what we mean here with ego. And so if it's based on that, then what is spoken, the words, is a lie. Again, not on the personal level, but lie as in being ignorant of the absolute truth, being separated from the divine spirit, because the I, the ego, can only define itself by separating me and the outside or the others. So, but this is not in accordance with what the divine spirit is. So it is separated from the absolute truth. And consequently, what is conveyed as the inner essence in words, in speaking, so what teaching would be, is also separated from the absolute goodness and results in evil. And evil it means here in not being an instrument of the spirit, not fulfilling what the divine, the spirit, the way it would unfold. So in a way of evil in the sense of not being in harmony with the divine spirit. So think of the separation of the ego, because the ego exists only by separation, think of that. And what is then manifested also in action, in reality, can only increase the separation and the opposites and so on. Nothing else can develop from that. So those are the two major differences.